In the quiet hum of a rainy evening, as the doorbell chimed through her cramped apartment, Emily froze with a spoon halfway to her mouth. Standing there, drenched but impeccably dressed, was a man whose face she'd only seen in glossy magazines, Alexander Hargrove, the tech billionaire worth billions. His eyes locked onto hers with an intensity that made her heart race. "Emily," he said, his voice steady but laced with emotion, "you don't know me, but you've saved someone very dear to me. May I come in?" Her mind spun. What could a man like him want with a poor waitress like her? But as the door creaked open, the real story began, one that would unravel secrets, test her soul, and redefine kindness forever. But wait, before we dive in, imagine this. What if one simple act of compassion could shatter your world in ways you never expected? Hold on, because just when Emily thought her life couldn't get any harder, a shadow from the past was about to emerge, threatening everything she held dear. Emily Thompson had always been the kind of person who wore her heart on her sleeve, even when her sleeves were threadbare from years of scrubbing tables and carrying trays. At 28, she worked double shifts at Diner's Delight, a greasy spoon on the edge of downtown Seattle, where the coffee was strong and the tips were weak. Her apartment was a shoebox above a laundromat, smelling faintly of detergent and regret. She wasn't just poor, she was scraping by on dreams deferred. Her mother had passed away from cancer 2 years ago, leaving Emily with a mountain of medical bills and a younger brother, Jake, who was 16 and teetering on the edge of trouble. Jake dreamed of college, but Emily knew the math didn't add up, her wages barely covered rent, let alone tuition. It started on a crisp autumn morning, the kind where the leaves crunched underfoot like brittle memories. Emily was on her way to work, clutching a paper bag with a leftover sandwich from the night before. That's when she saw him, the homeless man huddled against the brick wall of an abandoned warehouse, just a block from the diner. He was older, maybe in his late 60s, with a scruffy beard streaked in gray and eyes that held the weight of untold stories. His clothes were ragged, layered against the chill, and he clutched a worn backpack like it was his only lifeline. Something about him tugged at her. Perhaps it was the way he didn't beg, just sat there with quiet dignity, or maybe it reminded her of her late father, who had fallen on hard times before his heart gave out. Without thinking, Emily approached him. "Hey, mister," she said softly, holding out the bag. "It's not much, but it's fresh. Ham and cheese on rye." He looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes, and for a moment, she thought he'd refuse. But then he nodded, his voice gravelly but kind. "Thank you, miss. Name's Harold. Harold Jenkins." She smiled, introduced herself, and that was it, the beginning of a routine that would become her anchor in a stormy life. Every day after that, Emily made it a point to bring Harold something. Sometimes it was scraps from the diner, pancakes gone cold, a slice of pie, a cup of soup. Other times, when tips were better, she'd buy him a hot coffee or a pair of socks from the dollar store. It wasn't charity, it was connection. In a world that rushed by without noticing, Harold noticed her. They'd talk during her breaks, he'd share snippets of his life, like how he'd once been a mechanic, fixing cars for the wealthy until a factory shutdown left him adrift. She opened up too, about her mom's illness, Jake's rebellious streak, and the gnawing fear that she'd never escape the cycle of poverty. As weeks turned to months, their bond deepened. Harold became like a surrogate uncle, offering wisdom wrapped in quiet humor. "Life's like a flat tire, Emily," he'd say with a chuckle. "You can curse it or change it. But sometimes, you need a hand to lift the jack." She laughed at his metaphors, but they stuck with her during long nights when bills piled up. Yet, challenges loomed. Emily's boss, Mr. Grady, was a gruff man who skimped on hours and docked pay for the smallest infractions. One day, after a particularly busy shift, he caught her slipping out with a to-go box. "What's this, Thompson? Stealing food now?" he barked. Her heart pounded. She explained it was for Harold, but Grady's face twisted. "We ain't running a soup kitchen. Do it again, and you're out. That night, as rain pelted her window, Emily wrestled with doubt. Should she stop? The risk was real, losing her job meant losing everything. But the thought of Harold going hungry twisted her gut. The next morning, she packed the food anyway, her resolve hardening like steel. Little did she know, this defiance would set off a chain of events that could either lift her up or crush her completely. Cliffhanger 1 hung in the air like the fog rolling in from Puget Sound. As Emily handed Harold his meal that day, a sleek black car slowed nearby, its tinted windows reflecting her worried face. The driver watched them intently, then sped off. Who was watching? And why did it feel like her simple kindness was about to unravel a web of secrets? Winter descended on Seattle like a heavy blanket, bringing shorter days and sharper struggles. Emily's life grew more complicated. Jake got into a fight at school, suspended for defending a bullied kid, which meant Emily had to take unpaid time off to sort it out. Bills mounted, the landlord threatened eviction if rent was late again. Harold noticed her strain. "You look tired, kid," he said one afternoon, as they shared a bench in the park. Snow flurries danced around them. "What's eating at you?" She poured it out, the debts, Jake's dreams slipping away, the fear of failing everyone. Harold listened, his eyes softening. "I had a family once," he confessed quietly. "A wife, a son. Lost in a car accident years ago. Drunk driver. After that, the world just broke. I walked away from everything." Emily's heart ached for him. She reached out, squeezing his hand. "You're not alone now, Harold. You've got me." He smiled faintly, but there was a shadow in his gaze, as if he carried more burdens than he let on. Their routine continued, but cracks appeared. One evening, as Emily approached their usual spot, Harold wasn't there. Panic bubbled up. Had something happened? She searched the alleys, calling his name, her breath visible in the cold air. Hours later, exhausted and worried, she returned home to find Jake waiting with news. "Sis, the school's offering a scholarship, but I need your help with the essay." Torn between joy for him and fear for Harold, she pushed through. The next day, Harold reappeared, looking frilier. "Just a bad night," he muttered, but Emily saw bruises on his arms. "Who did this?" she demanded. He waved it off. "Street life, Emily. Don't worry." But worry she did. She started bringing extra blankets, a first aid kit scavenged from the diner. Her own life frayed further. Grady cut her shifts after another infraction, forcing her to pick up odd jobs cleaning houses. Exhaustion set in, but Harold's gratitude fueled her. "You're an angel," he'd say. One particularly harsh night, as sleet stung her face, she found him shivering under a tarp. "Come with me," she insisted, leading him to her apartment despite the risks. Jake eyed him warily but warmed up when Harold helped with homework, sharing stories of engines and physics that made math come alive. As spring buds peeked through, Emily's challenges peaked. The landlord served an eviction notice, rent 2 months behind. Jake's scholarship interview loomed, but he needed a suit she couldn't afford. Desperation clawed at her. "I can't keep this up," she confided in Harold one day, tears streaming. "I'm drowning." He placed a weathered hand on her shoulder. "Hold on, Emily. Sometimes, the tide turns when you least expect it." His words lingered, but doubt crept in. Was she foolish for helping him when her own world crumbled? Then came the second cliffhanger, sharp as a knife's edge. That evening, as Emily locked up the diner, a shadowy figure approached from the darkness. "You the one feeding old Harold?" the man growled, his face hidden in the hood. "Stay away from him, or you'll regret it." He vanished into the night, leaving Emily trembling. Who was he? And what danger had her kindness invited? Heart pounding, Emily rushed to Harold's spot the next morning, relief flooding her when she found him safe. "Someone threatened me last night," she blurted. Harold's face paled. "Emily, you need to stop coming here. It's not safe." But she refused. "We're in this together." Their talks grew deeper. Harold revealed more, how his son had been a prodigy, building a tech empire before the accident tore them apart. "I blamed myself," he whispered. "Walked away from it all." Emily shared her own regrets, dropping out of nursing school to care for her mom, the what-ifs that haunted her nights. Resolutions flickered like distant stars. Jake nailed his interview, thanks to Harold's tutoring, securing a partial scholarship. Emily negotiated with the landlord, promising extra payments from a side gig. But the threats lingered. She spotted the shadowy man again, watching from afar. Paranoia set in. Was Harold hiding something? One day, he handed her an old photo from his backpack, a younger him with a woman and a boy. "My family," he said. The boy looked familiar, but she couldn't place why. Summer brought warmth, but tension simmered. Emily's health faltered from overwork, a persistent cough she ignored. Harold urged her to see a doctor, but money was tight. "I'll be fine," she lied. Their bond strengthened. Harold helped Jake with college apps, teaching him about resilience. "Your sister's got more strength than she knows," he'd tell the boy. Jake, once sullen, blossomed, even volunteering at a shelter inspired by Emily's example. Yet, the shadows closed in. The threatening man appeared again, this time confronting Harold while Emily watched hidden. "Your son's looking for you, old man. But I found you first." A scuffle ensued. Harold fought back, but the man fled after landing a punch. Emily rushed out. "Who is he? What's going on?" Harold sighed, defeated. "An old enemy from my past. Debt collector. I owed money after the accident, bad investments. Thought I'd escaped." Shocked, Emily realized Harold's homelessness wasn't just grief. It was evasion. She resolved to help. Using her nursing knowledge, she bandaged his wounds. "We'll figure this out." But inside, fear gnawed. How deep did this go? Days later, Jake announced full scholarship acceptance, a tearful celebration. Emily hugged him, pride swelling despite her woes. Harold joined, toasting with cheap soda. "To new beginnings," he said, eyes misty. As fall returned, circling back to where it began, Emily's cough worsened. Pneumonia, the doctor said, from exhaustion. Hospital bills loomed anew. Harold vanished again, this time for days. Panic peaked. She searched shelters, streets, even filed a missing person report. "Where are you?" she whispered to the empty warehouse wall. Then, the third cliffhanger struck like thunder. A letter arrived, unsigned. "Harold safe, but your meddling ends now. Meet at the warehouse tonight, alone, or he pays the price." Her hands shook. What trap awaited? Should she go, or call the police? The decision could save him. Or doom them both. Swallowing fear, Emily went. The warehouse loomed dark, echoes amplifying her footsteps. "Hello?" she called. Footsteps approached, not the thug, but Harold, flanked by, the billionaire from her doorstep vision. No, this was the revelation. Alexander Hargrove stepped into the light, his face a mirror of the boy in Harold's photo. "Dad," he said, voice breaking. Harold nodded, tears flowing. "Son." The pieces shattered and reformed. Harold wasn't just a mechanic. He'd been Harold Hargrove, co-founder of a tech giant, but grief drove him to abandon it all, changing his name to Jenkins to hide. The enemy was a PI hired by Alexander to find him, but twisted by greed, demanding ransom. Alexander, the billionaire, had been searching for years, following leads to Seattle. He'd watched Emily's kindness from afar, the black car her first clue. You brought him food every day, Alexander said, gratitude shining. Kept him alive, gave him hope. When the PI turned rogue, you protected him. The thug was arrested that night, lured by the setup. Resolutions cascaded, Alexander cleared Harold's debts, reunited with his father. For Emily, a reward, not charity, but justice. He paid her bills, funded Jake's college fully, and offered her a job at his foundation, helping the homeless with her nursing skills revived. Emily's life transformed, but the depth lingered. She visited Harold in his new home, their bond unbreakable. You saved me too, she told him. Alexander became a friend, his empire's gloss fading to reveal a man healed by family. In the end, Emily stood taller, her story a testament to kindness as ripple. Even in darkness, one act can ignite light, resolving pain into purpose. It's a reminder, compassion isn't weakness, it's the strongest force we wield. If you enjoyed this heartfelt tale of redemption and humanity, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories that touch the soul. Thanks for watching.